Hello everyone, welcome to Script Writing Workshop. My name is Chisom. This workshop is brought to you by the African Film Festival, one of the numerous ways Taff give back to the community. Script writing is a massive subject. It's easy to feel easily intimidated by the thought of writing a screenplay. You may be thinking, how do I follow the rules? Formatting, the acceptable binding format. Don't let the script writing elements scare you away from writing your first script. Just familiarize yourself with the basics of the craft, then you already won half the battle. So the African Film Festival has provided you with an overview of how to write a screenplay to help you get up to the speed on writing fundamentals. So I have this workshop broken down into sessions with different elements to cover each time. So you're going to see more of other sections where I will talk about other elements and also formatting, characterization, dialogues, a lot of mistakes that we make in script writing, especially, in Nollywood in general. So we will concentrate today on those elements that will help you to get your first script on the way. So today we'll be talking about plotting, we'll be talking about maybe theme, and if we have time, we go into setting too. So you have an idea for a movie, but all the ideas is in here, right? You want to get it all on paper. So what will be your next step? Script writing, or you can call it screenwriting. Script writing, screenwriting. So script writing is writing down the movements, actions, expressions, dialogues of the characters in a screenplay and putting it in a screenplay format. Totally different from a novel or from poem or from prose. So it's just a narrative. It's telling stories. People love to hear stories. I love to hear stories. So it doesn't matter what genre, it cuts across the board. Script is only the blueprint. You can make a bad film from a good script, but you cannot make a good film from a bad script. That's a fact. The easiest career path to start off is script writing. You need a laptop and a story. All stories are built around human experiences. I know you've had a lot of experiences that you can put down in writing and it becomes a blockbuster. So am I too. But you know what? How do we get it across? How do we put it in paper? How do we format it so that we can give it to a producer and it becomes marketable? That's what we are here to do today. So let's get into plot right away. Simply put, plot is a sequence of events which makes up a story. It's everything that happens from beginning of a film to the end. Okay, so let's say that, let me give you an example. The husband died and the wife died. There's no plot in this statement. There's no plot in this story. We know the husband died and the wife died. But when you say the husband died and the wife died of grief, the writer has provided a plot line for the story because he has answered the why. The plot answers the why, the reason this action is taking place or has taken place or will take place. The plot is a casual sequence of events and the why for the things that happens in the story. Full stop. That is the plot. But crafting a good plot is essential to a story being understood. The plot draws the reader into the character's life and helps the reader understand the choices of that character. And help the readers understand the choices that character makes. A plot structure is the way in which the story elements are arranged. The writer varies structures depending on the need of the story. Structure, have a structure of a house. You want to decide whether you want to have a glass window or wood windows and all this. These are the things that you put into a plot, but you also want to find a clear line that shows how one action leads to the next and to the next and so on and so forth, so that you build a chain of events that flows intelligently and coherently, so that you don't lose your audience. And you have to understand that the story must be plotted in terms of action, emotion, and suspense. Just make sure that as the story unfolds, the audience should be able to experience emotional reactions, curiosity, and even the artistic appreciation of the story. See, that's why when you go to movies and you watch stories, watch some films, you'll cry. That's what the writer wants you to do. Sometimes they make you laugh. That is the intention. So you want to make sure when you're plotting, you want to make sure you are achieving that. We want to laugh. We want to cry. We want to hate that protagonist. We want to like that antagonist, whatever, vice versa. It's fine. But make sure that you're writing with what you want to achieve in mind. All right? So it is usually beneficial when you want to start plotting that you outline your characters, you outline the scenes, the setting, and so on and so forth. So when you outline them, it makes it easier to just, so you don't lose focus and you're attacking it, in that sequence. So today we are still on plotting. We will discuss 5 elements in a plot. The first element, and this is not just talking about plot, this is talking about plot with regards to script writing, what you see in your movie, what you want to see in your script, how you want to plot so that, you keep your audience entertained and you do not lose them. So we do the first element will be exposition or introduction, simple. So this is the beginning of the story. You see where characters and settings are established. For instance, you watching a movie, boom, use your remote, turn on the TV, the movie starts. After the credits, sometimes even before credits, you see a wide shot of a city. And then you see all these skyscrapers, and then all of a sudden we zoom to boom. What does that mean? Freedom! Freedom of liberty. What does that mean? It means that we are setting this in New York. That is the introduction, introducing the city where you are at. So that tells the audience, okay, this is New York, and they start expecting certain features associated with New York. So they are with you. They are right now in New York with you. So in the exposition, introduction aspect of the plot, the conflict, the main problem is also introduced, wherein the stage is set and the characters are also introduced. So it then moves into catalyst. So let's hold on to that for the moment. Let's go back to introducing your characters too. So because I know, like, when you watch some movies, you'll be like, huh, who is this? Who is this again? I'm lost. So you know why they are lost? Because you have not introduced the character. As someone steps into the screen, you want us to know who this person is. And most of the time, the first introduction of a plot is telling us about them, not necessarily by them voicing, oh, I'm a doctor and I'm going to the hospital. No, stop, please. Just for the fact that, you established the city of New York and then pans to a home, gets in, and you see a man dressed up in the morning with stethoscope on. What does that tell you? This man, either a doctor, a nurse, healthcare provider. That tells you he goes into the kitchen. Darling, I'll see you. I'm running off. I'm already late. Okay, who? The peg? Darling? That must be the wife. Oh, and a child runs out. Mommy, what do you do? That's the child. So these are the little ways to introduce characters without much words, flying around. So you just like boom, 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 made, done. This is not the interesting part of the movie. This is just introduction, giving us all those people so that we are familiar with them and we know, okay, we can build that emotions, connections with them. All right. So you do all that in the exposition aspect of the plot, and then still on that, you may move into the catalyst, sometimes also referred to as inciting incidents. The catalyst is the event that sets the story in motion. So we see all that in the exposition before we get into the rising action. Rising action. You have established all your characters, or most of your characters, the main characters especially. We've all known that, we've seen them, we're familiar with them, and then it gets into rising action. And then we see stuff going on, and then gets to the rising action, which is another element of a plot. Then what is rising action? This is when series of events build up to a conflict. Then all of a sudden we see the husband and wife just kissed, and then before you know it, they are cursing at each other. The woman saw her husband with another lady, and these are all the conflict that is building catalyst and then gets into the rising action. So the main characters are all established with the rising characters at the time, and at the same time events begin to get complicated and more interesting. But don't get to the rising action before you engage your audience. Don't wait for the rising actions, because let me tell you something. Some people, some good producers, some good directors, watch your movie the first 1 to 5 minutes. If it's not engaging, they toss it to the side. So do not over-establish your characters. do not get everything going, even from the expository aspect of the plot, so that you keep engaging your audience. All right? So, like, for instance, you plot A, B, C, D, E. That's plotting. You start from A, you go to the B event, you go to the C event, D event. It flows in that order in a linear form. But then you can start with a D, the climax, and then move all the way to the B, to the A, to the C, so you can do them interchangeably, as long as your focus is to keep your audience interested in your movie. So that's the story. It doesn't have to start from A. It can start from C. All right? So the major thing is not to lose your audience, and don't let your audience use remote or hold remote in their hand. Blah, 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 blah. Let's get to this is wasting my time. No, don't. Avoid them using remote to watch your movie. Keep them glued to the TV. So with the rising action, it is this part of a story that excitement, tensions, crises are encountered. All the catching of the husband with another woman, and the woman throwing hot water, they call the ambulance, and the man is dazed. You know, all these actions, you see them in the rising action of the script. So all the crises are encountered. All these tensions, crises, are mounting of events that will now lead to the climax. They build up to lead to the climax, or you can call it the turning point of the story. So, and then this is where in the climax is often the most exciting, emotional part of the story. We want to know what's going to happen. Through hot water on a human being? What's going to happen? Cops called? Take her to jail? Is that really the girlfriend? Or would there be some shocking scenes that we're going to see, shocking news and everything that will happen in the climax? So it's just, this is just an example, but you know, I can give you just standing here, but just understand that climax is where you want to know what happened, the tension and emotions, the highest moment of emotions. So this will leave you wondering what is going to happen next. That is the climax. It's the turning point of the story. So afterwards, the plot begins to, after that, you know, the plot begins to descend into falling action. Okay, oh, the woman finally died in a hospital, the woman with hot water. And then, whoa, she dead? Oh, Lord. See? Now what happened? Falling action. That is another part of the plot. Falling action, or the winding down of the story, occurs when the events and complications begin to resolve. The consequences of the actions of the main characters are put forward. Now, consequence of pouring water on someone. What's going to happen to the woman? You understand? So, but however, this phase of the story may be brief, but also tense, and ending may still be uncertain, because we still didn't know, even though we have fallen action, we don't know, and that takes us to where resolution. How did it all get resolved? You can call it conclusion. So this is just the end of the story, which may occur either in a happy ending or in a tragic ending. What happened to the man? What happened to the woman? Did she go to jail? Did she shoot the husband? Did the husband shoot her? And did they still happily married ever after? So these are the resolutions that you see. So bang, bang, bang. You know your expository, you know your rising action, you know your climax, you know your resolution, and you can have anti-climax too, but yeah, that's the structure I'm talking about. You build your house the way you want to build it, as long as you keep me interested in your story. That's all that matters. So this takes us to the end of plotting. There's a lot more to plotting, but these are the major stuff that you will see when you're plotting your stories. So we may revisit that as we move along, because all of these are intertwined, and we will always like touch this, touch that as we move on. So thank you for listening today, and I believe that we will see you again to discuss other sessions like the theme, setting, characterizations, dialogue, and so on. We thank Taff for bringing this to the community, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.